want to talk about money, lack of money. I want to talk about the cost of living in our world as a single parent. Is anyone surviving? Is it possible to survive financially on your own? And what does that take? I am 4 weeks out of having open heart surgery. I did not know that I had a congenital heart defect. And I was actually going in for another minor procedure when they just went, you need urgent open heart surgery. You have basically I have what's called bicuspid aortic stenosis. So one of my important heart valves has never been right structurally. And over time it leads to basically a complete blockage, and you die. And I'm so glad to know that I have it, because this is what would have killed my granddad. We had no idea at the time. He just dropped dead silently playing golf. And this would have been the cause, but obviously back then they did not know that. They didn't know about it. They certainly didn't know in a way that they could do any kinds of scans and prevent it. So super lucky. I've had surgery. I think it's been a success. I'm still waiting to see the surgeon afterwards. But what it means is I cannot work for at least 12 weeks, right? Which is just impossible. I'm a single mum. I have a mortgage. I pay it all on my own. I pay, oh my God, my cat is so adorable. Come here, my gorgeous boy. Hang on a minute. Oh, you're so cute. Hi. This is Gizmo. Hey. Gizmo is a white, his mum, sorry, was a white Persian chinchilla. And his dad was the local tabby cat. So he's got a bit of both. He's got the worst fur in the world in terms of, I don't know if you can see, but this is our life. After one tiny cuddle, it gets in your nose and it gets in your hair and it gets in your mouth and your eyeballs. Don't get a Persian cat. Anyway, so knowing this was happening and that I am all on my own and life is ridiculous / impossible for someone on their own anyway, I looked to Centrelink. I thought that perhaps I could get some support for whilst I cannot work. And I cannot. And I cannot because the system in Australia specifically only gives disability support to people who are permanently incapacitated. As in, they've done the surgeries, they've done the treatment, they're the best they can be and they aren't good. So because I'm expected to get better and I'm expected to not be in this state forever, I can't get help. Yet I have a mortgage and a child and I have to buy food and pay bills and pay a mortgage. It's it's impossible. It's so impossible. I just don't know what to do. And it seems that, I know it's not just happening in Australia, but in Australia we are in a cost of living crisis. Food, the price of food has doubled. I read something the other day, it's increased by 20%. It's at least doubled. I did a shop just a few days ago and I spent like $200 and it was like 4 bags of After my shop, I put all the stuff in the fridge and I'm like, my fridge is empty. It's insane. When a block of Cadbury's chocolate is $8.50 and when orange juice is $9, it's just out of control. And I feel like we live in a society that forces you to financially be in a relationship, to have another person, to be able to afford life. And I don't want to do that. And I shouldn't have to do that. So even when I'm better and I go back to work, it's still not enough. And the threat of losing my house over a health condition is really scary, and also it makes me angry. You know, we work our lives and we pay our taxes so that we can have this safety net of help, but it's not. It's impossible to get, and I can't get it. Having the second most, we have a housing crisis that's been created through decades of bad policy, and no politician or party has the balls to change a thing, because it's been benefiting people, higher income people, for a very long time, and it continues to do so. And changing those policies, I don't know, it's going to take someone who can stand up to the rich that influence these kinds of things. And look, just to give you a bit of an idea as to what's happening in Australia, it's a few things that have made our housing the most expensive, second most expensive in the world, right? Basically, everybody with any money in Australia has got Australia's housing market. It's not, its primary concern is not, or its primary purpose is not to provide secure housing for people to live in. It's, our real estate goes up so fast in value because people are making a lot of money off properties. It's kind of like, it's what people do in Australia, because it's a guaranteed win. Property just keeps going up and up and up, and we have created policies that make it really easy for people to do that, right? So they're not just buying a second home, they're buying a third and a fourth and a fifth home. And the main purpose of these purchases is to earn money. So a lot of people are in on that and rely on that. A lot of the politicians are doing just that. So no one wants to make a change that's going to make the housing market go down in any way. They want it to keep going up because they're all invested in it. I think it is so wrong that, especially politicians, right? There is a local politician near me, and I live in an area where it's national parks, a beautiful river, it's a real tourist spot. And so what people have done is they have, anyone that had a house for rent, right, now rents it out as an Airbnb because they make more money. this local candidate I'm talking about owns something like 17 houses for the sheer purpose of, well, you get your income because you rent them out for Airbnbs, and then they just go up in value so much that that's how a lot of people invest their money in Australia. And it is people with a lot of money that tend to have the monopoly on doing this. So the problem itself just keeps getting more and more out of control. And there has not been a single politician that has had the balls to change a damn thing. You know, we've got Labor in as our, I can't even think straight. What's the word for it? You know, there are many parties to choose from, but it basically comes down to Labor and Liberal. And at the moment, Labor in power, it could be Liberal next time. It makes absolutely no difference. They are both exactly the same these days. Labor used to really support the small person, the family, the home. But Australia has just changed in that way. And listen, I am so grateful to be in a position to buy a house. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it up due to this financial situation. I hope that I can. But I feel like I was the last generation to be able to buy a house, because it used to take someone 3 years to save for a deposit for a house. And now it's something like 15 years or 14.7 years. So you got to save for 15 years just to get enough for a house deposit. In a housing climate where they're so fucking expensive that, you know, I guess it's becoming later stage capitalism, if I really think about it. Because when it comes down to it, the rich are the ones who can afford to buy the properties at the inflated prices, and people can't. The little people can't. And our kids, I don't know how they're ever going to get a house on their own. And because there's a housing crisis, there is a rental crisis. We have no rentals. We have a 1% rental vacancy. We have 200 people applying for the same house. Rent is so expensive that I just couldn't afford it, plain and simple. That's why I had to buy. My mortgage was going to be smaller than what rent would have been. And I know, look, I can barely afford this. I could certainly not afford to rent. And people can't get rentals. We have people living in tents. We have tent cities. We have women my age being forced to live in their cars. Also, that the price of housing can just keep going up and up, so people can make money off it. So we've had a couple of policies that have contributed to it, which is negative gearing and capital gains tax exemption, things that help people with money to purchase homes and not have to pay various... I'm not one of these people, so I don't know exactly how it goes. All I know is it needs to stop. And it won't. I cannot see a government coming in that can change this, or that will change this, ever. So I don't know where it's going. I don't know what's going to happen. And all I know is that as a homeowner, right, I mean, the bank owns my home, but you know what I mean, I've got a mortgage. I would sincerely rather my house to be worth less in order for young people to be able to buy houses. And I think a lot of people would feel the way I do. I think we've all got kids and we're just like, and it's common knowledge now that, and they call it the bank of mum and dad. The only kids that can afford to buy are those who can borrow a deposit from their mum and dad. And anyone who doesn't have parents with that kind of money, which is most people, can't. So they're forced to rent. There isn't enough rentals. The cost of rent is insane. And people are going homeless. We've always had a little homeless community, or a bit of a, what would you call it? What do you call, my brain is just not working today. They kind of come and they go and they come back and they go where the, what's the word for it? You all know what I mean. We've always had that kind of community happening. But now we have families in tents. It just makes me so mad that our government policy has done this and that no one's prepared to change it, because it's only the people with the investment properties that want the properties to keep going up and up and up. Little people like me, got cat hair in my mouth, that have just a house to live in. It makes no difference to me what it's worth. It's just a house that I live in. I'm not making money off it. I'm not. But all the investment properties need to make an income to pay for it all. And so our government has really facilitated that. They've brought in all of these exemptions for these people, which have enabled them to get rich in this way. And yeah, it seems like a lot of people are talking about housing crash, like inevitably it's got to happen, right? But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to let it happen. I think it should happen. I want it to happen. I want kids to be able to own fucking houses in their own country. I at least want them to be able to rent them. And, you know, it's for this is forcing single people to live in, like older people, 60-year-olds to live in share houses, and it's just so bad. I don't want my house to go up in value. I genuinely mean that. I want houses to come down. And the only people that don't want that are the people invested in that. And it's a lot. It's so much that it is just driven the costs so out of proportion to what they should be that only the people with money can benefit from them, and they want to benefit from them. It's just really sad. There are other factors contributing to it as well. There are many, and you know, we aren't building houses. We aren't approving enough for building. We aren't building enough houses for the people that live here. We have a big stream of immigrants, and listen, I love multiculturalism. I really do. I'm not one of the people that is blaming immigration for our situation, but it is a contributing factor. And that's nothing racist, or it's just maths, you know. When you've got 1% housing available and you are bringing in 200,000 people a year, it is going to contribute to the problem. I say that with no I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming immigrants. I'm blaming us. I'm blaming our government. They want the money. They want the... I just want to have the cake and eat it too. And I'm so annoyed. And I don't know if I can survive on my own in 2026, regardless of how hard I work. When I can work, I sure as hell can't survive at the moment. And, yeah, it's just so wrong. What are you meant to do? You're meant to go and get in a relationship and move in with someone just because you can't afford not to do it. Do you rent out your spare room to someone you don't know when you've got kids, and that feels not ideal as well? It's almost like you just need a hustle aside. You need money to survive, and I'm sick of hustling. Fucking sick of it. I'm sick of working for someone else and working for myself and working on the weekends. And I'm a mum, you know? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. It's tough financially. 2026 in Australia, it's not doable. I don't know who's doing it. I imagine the only people that are doing it well are the people who've paid off their houses, so the older generations. People like me, I've got a mortgage, right, and I'm grateful that I've got a house. But I am so poor. I'm so fucking poor, you wouldn't believe it. I'm house poor, they call it now. But I'm not living in a tent yet. It's been a bit scary, right? Because I've honestly had to go there. I'm like, okay, what if I lose my house? What if I can't do this? What if I can't keep this up? I could sell it and buy some kind of a RV, but I've got heaps of animals. I can't do that. So I'm a vet nurse, right? I got loads of animals, but I have not been taking in any new animals for a very long time, specifically for the fear that I could end up. So we're only a couple of mortgage payments away from losing our homes. And the same goes for renters. And I really feel for the renters. I think everybody should be able to buy their own home. And I'm not saying it needs to be in Sydney City or in places that are too upmarket. But people should be able to buy a house somewhere when they work full time. And they can't anymore in Australia. And that's really shit. So bad. I don't know where this is going to go. I guess the only people who are going to benefit, again, perhaps it's my generation, when we lose our parents, because our parents own homes. Well, my parents only own one home, but a lot of people have invested in the property market and own multiple homes. But we need to do something. I could never be a politician. But if I was, there is about 3 things that I would change immediately. And that would make housing more affordable. But the backlash is huge. Nobody will do it. No one will do it. Most of the are too invested financially in it themselves. So no one will do it. I would love it if someone would. Imagine someone coming in and just going, fuck what everyone thinks. This is what needs to happen. We need someone like that. But our system is set up so that the two major parties will always be in power. And that's because you can vote for the smaller parties, right? But if the smaller parties get in, your vote automatically goes to the larger party. So say you vote one of the smaller independent parties who wants to change it, who wants to make housing more affordable. They don't get enough voters to win. So when you don't have enough votes to win, any votes you have go to the nominated major party. So that's either Liberal or Labor, which just keeps either of the two in power. And neither of them, they're both the same these days. There used to be a difference. And neither of them are going to do a damn thing about our housing crisis. Nothing positive anyway. Everything they do just adds fuel to the fire. And they want that fire. Anyway, that's me whinging about money for 26 minutes straight. If you've made it this far, yay. Fuck. So hard. I'm sorry that it's so hard for everybody. I'm doing it tough too. And as a single person, it's damn near impossible. Anyway, bye folks.